for the most part, just accepting that like I can't control someone else's actions and I can only control myself and what I do and the life that I create for myself, that has given me a lot of peace, and it has also allowed for me to have a better outlook on life, because I realize like not everything someone does to me is a reflection of what I deserve. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Felicia. This is The Feminine Fancy if you are new. In today's video, I wanted to talk about how I have sort of shifted to a more positive outlook on life, a more positive way of thinking about things. If you guys didn't know, I sustained a neck injury about a month and a half ago, or maybe like 6 weeks ago. With this neck injury, I was pretty much bedridden for a while. I couldn't really turn my head. I couldn't do a lot of different things. And it really affected me. Like, it affected me mentally so much. In addition to a lot of other things that have been going on in my personal life, which if you guys are watching this and you are patrons, you already know what's been going on. I've been keeping my patrons updated, and I really, really, really appreciate your support and all of your prayers and everything. I'm so thankful for you guys. But I wanted to just talk about like a little bit of a mental shift that I've been trying to make as I've been dealing with this. And this is something that my mom has encouraged me to do, my fiance has encouraged me to do, because it's just so necessary when you're dealing with something that you can't control to really play the mental game of like, okay, how are we gonna start thinking about this? Or how are we gonna continue thinking about this? So I wanted to talk about that in today's video. And so I hope you guys enjoy it. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing if you enjoy this video. Like this video, you can find me on Instagram and on my website, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Okay, so the first thing that I've been doing to start improving my outlook on life is journaling again. I don't know when it happened, but I just stopped writing in my journal as much or at all, really. And I don't know when that happened, because ever since kindergarten, I have been an avid diary writer, journal writer, like every day, every night, writing in my journal, getting my thoughts out on paper. And you know, just this sort of like craziness and the busyness of life, I think, made it so that I wasn't journaling anymore, like at all. And I realized I hadn't really consistently written in a journal or a diary since the year that I met Kane, which was like 2018. And so I really wanted to get back into that, because journaling has always been a form of expression for me. It's always been really helpful. And that has been really improving my outlook on life, because it really gives me the opportunity to look at what's going on from like an outside perspective, instead of just feeling like everything is so big and I just have to deal with all of it on my own. It's just this big thing that I have to battle all alone. When I journal and I write these things down, I start to see things from a different perspective. I start to understand things from a different perspective. And that's been really, really helpful. I actually just bought the cutest journal at Target. Actually, let me show it to you. So this is my new journal that I got at Target. I just thought it was so cute and simple and pretty, and I like the neutral color, and I'm just really excited. So journaling has helped me improve my outlook. It's helped me see things from a different perspective, and I really missed it. So I'm really glad that I'm doing that again. Okay, the next way that I am starting to improve my outlook on life is I have started making baby steps back into a faith life. And this is gonna be an interesting thing for me to admit, but because I don't really talk about faith at all, but that's for a reason. It's because I have had a tug of war, I would say, relationship with faith for probably the last like 5 years. I grew up really, really religious. I was raised Catholic, and I grew up super Catholic. I went to Catholic schools all the way from kindergarten through my freshman year of college. And I was always, you know, the kid that was more invested in Catholicism and in the religion than any of my friends. Like, I was so into it. I've talked briefly about it on this channel, like how I went on a mission trip in 2017. There were times in my life when I was going to mass every single day. Like, I was pretty devout. I was a very devout Catholic. And then some things happened that just made me feel like I didn't belong to that church. We're getting real personal here, but some things happened that made me feel like I didn't belong to that church, and that I didn't belong to the Catholic faith, it just became something where I didn't feel like it fit anymore. I didn't feel like it fit. I didn't feel like it was working. I didn't feel like it was meant for me. I have been, working with my therapist and figuring out like what is my faith life. But I think in doing that, I have not really known like where to turn, because when you have one specific way of doing things for so long, it's really hard to transition to something different. So it's really hard to be like, oh, this is how I practice faith for how I've practiced faith for 21, 22 years. Now I'm supposed to switch and do something completely different. Like, it's hard and it takes effort. The thing about sustaining this injury is that like I haven't really had a choice as far as having faith that it's gonna get better. This is one of the first times, well, I've had other times in my life, but this is one of the most significant, I would say, times in my life where I've really had to just believe that it's gonna get better with no proof. Because listen, you guys, I've been in physical therapy. I have done acupuncture. I have done cupping. I have gone to orthopedic doctors. Like, I have done everything. And, now I'm finally starting to feel some relief. But a few days ago, I was like, well, I guess this is just my life now. Like, I guess I'm just gonna have to get used to a life with pain. And instead of having that mentality, I just decided I can think that way, or I can start to have a little faith, and I can start to believe that things are gonna get better, that my body will heal, that my body knows how to heal, that it wants to heal, and all of these things. So, stepping back into having a little bit of faith just in something greater, and in something positive has been helpful. I would say. I don't think that I ever realized how negative I could be sometimes and how cynical I can be sometimes. And I think based on what's been going on in my personal life, this is like not surprising. I just didn't realize it. And it started to wear on me, like being negative and being cynical and sarcastic all the time. It just started to make me not happy with life, obviously. And I know that's probably really obvious, but when you're in it and when it's just like kind of second nature to you to just be like, well, I guess this just is what it is now. When that's kind of like your attitude naturally, or maybe not even naturally, but because of different things that you've gone through, it's really hard to shift that perspective. And so shifting that and telling myself like, I'm going to be okay, my body's going to be okay, I'm not going to feel like this forever, that has been very helpful. When I do my physical therapy stretches, I'm just repeating to myself, my body knows how to heal, my body wants to heal, my body's capable of healing, and just having faith. As much as I haven't loved this whole situation, I am grateful that it has brought me back to a place of like having faith in anything. Next way that I have worked on improving my outlook on life is by focusing on my health. So I think it's really easy, especially in our world today, in our society today, like we're just so focused on work all the time. And in some ways, I almost feel a little bit like I've perpetuated this, especially last summer where I was really like, you go girl, like, you can have your own place, you can do your own thing. And I still stand by everything that I said in those videos for sure. But specifically after our most recent trip to Big Sur, I have started to feel like I just I desire a slower pace of life. Like I don't desire the hustle at all. And I don't long for it. And I feel so blessed that I am in, a relationship and I'm going to marry someone who does appreciate the hustle because then I don't have to deal with it. Part of this culture of hustling means focusing on work first and health, mental health, physical health second. Like that's just how we kind of operate. I just have gotten to a place, like I said, after our trip to Big Sur, where I am just like so hyper focused on my health right now. And I feel really thankful about that, but just making sure that I'm getting all the nutrients that I need. I had a really eye-opening conversation with one of the gardeners where we stayed on the campsite, or it was like a campsite resort thing. I don't know how to explain it. It's like glamping. But where we stayed, I had a conversation with one of the gardeners, and she actually has a farm of her own as well. And, it was just so funny because she has no social media. She doesn't have internet access. I mean, Big Sur is just so removed from anything, but she just does not have any of that. We had a really great conversation about health and about like eating for your body, listening to your body, like listening to when your body says, oh, I don't like that, or I do like that, and really honoring that and listening to it. And that just kind of made me snap back into the mental state of like, I need to focus on my health. Like, obviously, I think a lot of times when we have different things manifest physically, like injuries, it can be because it's our bodies forcing us to slow down. And I think that is what was happening with me, or what has been happening with me is my body was forcing me to slow down. And that trip really illuminated to me that like, I really don't need a lot to be satisfied, to be satiated, and to be entertained. I spent so much time reading because I had absolutely no service. We didn't have any snacks, and there really wasn't anywhere to buy any snacks. Closest convenience store was like 45 minutes to like 50 minutes away. So it wasn't just this sort of like mindlessness that I think that we experience in our sort of typical way of living. It wasn't just, oh, I'm scrolling on TikTok and I'm eating Cheez-Its, right? Like, it was really like, no, we're gonna go out to lunch, and then we're gonna go out to dinner, and we're not gonna have service, so we're gonna have to talk to each other. We're going to have to, you know, find ways to entertain ourselves aside from social media, aside from Netflix. And like, that's all a part of health too. And I just started to realize like, I need to focus in on my health a little bit more. And that includes how much time I spend on social media. That includes how much time I spend on TikTok, how, you know, asking myself, okay, am I eating because I'm hungry? Or am I eating because I'm bored? Like, really getting to know myself in that way. As you guys know, one of the things that I really like to do in terms of my health and maintaining my health is make a smoothie every day or every morning. And I like to switch out the different things that I add into my smoothies, which brings me to our sponsor for today's video, which is TEAMI Blends. They actually sent me the Superfoods green powder, and not kidding, I've used this so much. I love the taste, and I love the fact that I am getting my nutrients and my greens in a really quick and easy way. The Greens Superfood Blend is 100% plant-based, vegan, GMO-free, gluten-free, and dairy and soy-free. It's also made without fillers or additives, artificial flavors, artificial colors, or artificial chemicals. It's a delicious, nutritious blend of plant-based superfoods, and it's really perfect for getting that daily dose of greens into my life. Like I said, we can be so busy that we just don't get the nutrients that we need during the day, and so this is a really great way to start incorporating superfood ingredients into your diet. Greens Superfood Blend contains matcha, spirulina, and wheatgrass, and you can add it to water, juice, smoothie, or even oatmeal or porridge, whatever it is that you like to have for your breakfast in the morning. The reason why I love the greens powder so much specifically is because, I don't know about you guys, but anytime I buy like spinach or you know, kale or anything that I think I'm gonna use and throw in smoothies every single day, I kid you not, within a couple days, like I've used maybe half of it and the rest of it has gone bad. And that's because like, if you just don't have the time, or if you forget, or if you're busy doing other things, like, you know, produce goes bad really quickly. And so you have to use it really fast. So if you want to get those nutrients from greens, then the TEAMI Green Superfood Blend would be a perfect option for you. I will leave my link to the Greens Superfood Blend in the description box below, and you can use my code feminine20 for 20% off of your purchase. The next way that I have improved my outlook on life is by accepting the fact that I cannot control the actions of other people. And I know what you're gonna say, Felicia, of course you can't control other people, but like, I don't know what it is. Comment down below if you also feel like this. When someone does something that hurts you, sometimes, at least for me, sometimes I feel responsible. I'm like, I've done something wrong. I have upset this person. Like, what have I done? And this happens with me all the time, especially in friendships. And if you're a patron and you watched my video on friendships, I touched on this a little bit, but so often if I have like an issue with a friend, or if something, you know, or I don't even know if you can call them a friend, with an acquaintance, whatever, I automatically go to, have I done something wrong? Like, have I done something to upset you, to offend you, you know, whatever. I'm like, that's my go-to. And I just kind of started to realize, like, I have not done anything wrong. Like, I don't mean that in like a conceited, like, oh, I'm perfect. Like there are some times when, yeah, I've really messed up with in relationships. But then there are other times where I'm like, no, I really didn't do anything to like deserve this treatment. Like I didn't force this other person to do this. Like I don't control what someone else does. If I have a person in my life who is choosing, like actively choosing not to be present, not to make an effort to spend time with me, and I'm the only one putting in all this effort, like I can't control that. I can't control another person or what they choose to do. Or if someone has hurt me, like even that, I can't control another person's actions. I can only control my own actions, and I can only control really like how I respond to the situation. And so kind of focusing on that and realizing like, okay, what this person did to you, to your family, whatever, it's not a reflection of who you are. It's not a reflection of your worth or like how valid you are or how valuable you are as a person. It's just what they've chosen to do and how they've chosen to live their life and how they've chosen to interact in this space with you. And that's not your fault. Not only can you not control it, but it's also not your fault. That realization has been very helpful for me, and so it's still hard. Like, you know, I'm going through a couple things right now where I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? Like, you know, and maybe one day I'll have conversations with certain people and I'll say like, did I do something? Like, you know, you can tell me, I can take it. But for the most part, just accepting that like, I can't control someone else's actions and I can only control myself and what I do and the life that I create for myself. That has given me a lot of peace, and it has also allowed for me to have a better outlook on life, because I realize like not everything someone does to me is a reflection of what I deserve. And then finally, I have started creating things to look forward to. So I know I don't talk much about like, you know, wedding stuff, marriage stuff, you know, life, like my personal life. But recently, Kane and I went to go look at a property, a house on a property, I don't know, a property that had a house on it in an area that that is just so beautiful. Like I loved it so much. And we've looked at places before, just kind of like getting an idea of what it would be like to, you know, what we would have to do in order to buy a house and things like that. And we never really were like super gung-ho about it. We were kind of just like, okay, this will be, you know, this is fine. I mean, given where we live and how expensive it is, we kind of just are like, yeah, you know, we'll buy a house whenever we see fit or whenever, you know, we want to, but it's not like, oh my gosh, we have to buy a house in order to like be successful or be seen as successful or whatever. But when we saw this house, and you guys, it was like very, very, I don't even know if you could say house. It was so old and so small, and it needed a lot of work. Like, it needed a lot of work, but when I tell you, I had a whole vision. Like I saw it. I saw the vision. I saw my cottage in the woods. I saw like the twinkly lights and the, you know, all the different things that I want to do whenever we, you know, do get a property. I just saw it all, and I started to get so excited about that time in our lives. And prior to that, I was not that excited about it. I was kind of like, okay, yeah, if we get a property, great. If we don't, great, you know, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. But after having that moment of like visualizing and picturing the possibilities and imagining myself on that drive, like through the woods to my little like cozy cabin, like I just got so excited for it. We were chatting today actually, and I was like, you know, that really got me excited for life. Like that really got me excited for that stage in our lives when we're like starting, you know, in our new home and we're making it our own and we're renovating and doing all of that, and having that to look forward to, and having, you know, our wedding to look forward to. And I think you guys are actually going to be very surprised about what we decided to do for the wedding, but having those things to look forward to really have given me a much more positive outlook, because I'm excited about something. Like I'm looking forward to something. I'm you know, working towards something. I think a lot of times in life you can start to have a negative outlook, or you can start to struggle internally when you're not working towards something. And I know that personally, the times in my life when I've been the happiest, when I've been the most content, have been the times when I was working towards something, whether it was Miss California, whether it was, you know, my college degree. Like whenever whenever I'm working hard towards a vision, that's when I'm very happy in my life. And I think right now, because, you know, I'm no longer in my 9 to 5, I'm doing YouTube full time, but I don't necessarily have like a tangible goal that I'm particularly like quote unquote working towards, I started to feel very sad. And I think when you have something that you're working towards, that can really help you to have a more positive outlook on life. And so right now I'm just thinking about all the things that I'm looking forward to with the wedding and with looking for properties and things like that. And we're so excited. But that has really helped me as well. Just finding things to look forward to and to get excited about, which I wasn't really doing previously. I was kind of just living like day to day, especially when I was working full time. It was kind of just like the same thing every day, and there really wasn't anything to look forward to. So I think if you're also struggling, you know, mentally with anything, see if you can work towards something. Like, is there something something specific you can work towards, and then put your focus and energy there. And that really helps. At least that has helped me in the past, and it's helping me now. So those are all ways that I have been improving my outlook on life. And, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say every day is perfect. I still have my days where I struggle, my days where I am very sad, where I am very lonely, like all of that stuff. But I am working on having more faith and working towards things that make me happy. And I would encourage you guys to do the same, because, you know, if you don't, like, what is the alternative, right? So that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below how you have a positive outlook on life. Give us your tips, because we all like to share knowledge in this community. If you are not already on the Patreon, I would suggest heading over there if you're curious about some of the more cryptic things I said on the main channel about what's been going on in my personal life. Head over to Patreon, and I have a couple posts over there updating everybody about what's been happening, why I've been gone, and all of that stuff. And then you also get access to our Facebook community when you join the Patreon. You can find me on Instagram at _thefemininefancy_, and you can also find me on my blog, thefemininefancy.com, and that's where I do different posts about my outfits, my tablescapes, all that fun stuff. So make sure you head over there and sign up so that you don't miss my email blast. Thank you to TEAMI Blends for sponsoring today's video. Again, give their greens superfood blend a try. It's so delicious. I will leave the link down below, and don't forget, my code is feminine20. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.